Yeah, Mike is actually a pretty good planet. So thanks, Mike. Okay, so this ship finally made it back all the way to Sergei, even though it disappeared from my sensors down here. Very irritating. Hold on. That's a wormhole? Did I just get lucky? I think I just got lucky. Alright, go for it. And you do need to get to Kara, and we can afford it. Do it. Now, I don't have anyone that can join Arctic Worlds. I do have people that can colonize those. Am I absolutely sure I don't want to modify these before I get more of these people created? I can get rid of weak, in which case they are just governing ethics and pop consumers. And then they can work anywhere on their planets. We're going to do that. We're going to... I'd love to apply that template right now before we get more of them, because it'll be much cheaper.
Complete. Special project actualized.
That's only 7 months away. A thorough investigation of Himmer 1A has unearthed evidence of a past Yukt presence. An away team from the Johnny 5 has managed to bring a relatively well-preserved artifact back to the ship, which should hopefully increase our knowledge of the ancient civilization. Stephen needs some more stuff. Stephen can build a building. Stephen has a lot of unemployment. Stephen is a mining world. I mean, commercial zones would make a lot of sense. Because right now Stephen is a mining world, but I don't think it always will be. It's in my core. And the core is going to be commerce and research. I mean, that's the other thing we could do, is get another research building here. Although we do have 3 unemployed. The other thing they could do is happiness. More commerce. So it's just occurred to me. I'm surprised I'm not generating any piracy in these. Unless you can't generate piracy. No, you can generate piracy where you have a starbase. And also... Oh, no, we have 5 ships in this. That's fine. You're still at 16. You're still being dealt with. So are you. So are you. 13. 0.75. Not a problem. Yeah, it looks like all of the trade is coming in. Even though we have no trade protection stuff set up here. At all. Which is kind of interesting considering the amount of trade flowing in. $174 traders flowing through this province. It's quite a lot. Article 13 is getting close. Am I worried in any way? Not really, because large nations. Actually, if we're talking MegaCorp, they would be large nations. Large corporations Mega corporations, in fact, like Google, are not at all happy with it, and I think they'll get it voted down. Or at least modified. A planet with a pulse, something deep within the core of Colin Prime, has begun to pulsate at a steady pace, sending gentle ripples to the ground at regular intervals. It gives us a soft, almost soothing sound similar to that of a heart beating. Concerns have been raised, however, the sound may be growing in strength. Geologists are monitoring the planet closely for signs of dangerous Semitic activity. Interesting. It's an egg. What is Article 13? It's an article which is going through the European Union at the moment, which would... It's basically a revised set of copyright laws, but one of the problems with the copyright laws is it makes the enforcement of copyright the responsibility of the platform holders rather than the people creating the content. So rather than me being responsible for a copyright infringement, YouTube would be. And the way that YouTube would combat that would be just blocking all content which could potentially be considered copyright. Is basically what they're saying. Which would destroy Let's Plays. Because technically what we're doing does fall inside copyright. We don't have explicit permission, and you would need to have explicit permission to do a Let's Play because this is the property of somebody else. It's Paradox's. And Paradox would need to give permission to every single YouTuber and streamer in writing that they can do this. Ost Games, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Alright, Stephen Prime, what are you lacking? You just have that unemployment, you're doing the commercial zones. I'm still not sure about the commercial zones. I'd quite like to... Well, no, this is going to be a balance of research and commerce. It's only Jessica that's going all-out research. Commerce is really good for us. It's really good for us, so this is fine. And also, you have immunity issues, don't you? Yes, Jessica does not. In fact, Ross does too. Okay, so Colin Prime. Colin Prime is going to need to start importing some stuff. Colin Prime can harvest motes. See, that does not appear anywhere. So we really need to double down on Colin Prime. That needs to be a little bit clearer when you're colonizing worlds and stuff. Well, moat harvesting is going to require population, so Colin Prime already is just going to be a population hub. It's also a pretty big planet, so it can maintain that. So we're going to just go straight for the city. Who cares about jobs? And harvesting, is that a worker job or is that a specialist job? Who is the one that produces gases? Ross is. So the population that produces the gas are workers, which means it's a really good thing that I got rid of the weak trait. Because it's going to have to be those population types that harvest it. It's these guys. Which I can't import from anywhere. You're going to have to be homegrown. Also, you're currently growing a Yazgavaz. Wow, that's suddenly... I suddenly have access to a lot more races. Crikey. Well, I would like you to be... Yazgavaz, I guess. But we could also have Adix, who are leader lifespan and pop consumed. They could be Coromanthi, which are agrarian, which means they produce more food. You know, I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to see if you are intelligent enough to only go for species which have the high habitability, or if you're just going to go for anything. That does also say that I should probably build a colony ship of one of the other races, like the Adix or the Coromanthi, so that I can start using those populations. Though they do not appear here. So yes, I have to have them established somewhere before I can do that. Alright, so Heldeland, you need a colony ship, buddy. And the options are Adix, Coromanthi, Hoodoo, Zaan. Oh, I do have access to them. Those are the guys who are like us, but more population growth, and they're also strong, so they make great workers. And then Prosnaken, which are Arctic habitability. I can now cover everything. Oh, my nation size is about to explode. And we have Alpine Thrifty. The Kupulci. I don't know why I suddenly have access. Oh! It's because Yazgavaz is migration with basically everyone. And now I have migration Yazgavaz. I'm getting all the populations which they've been attracting. This is very good. Okay. In that case, I think I'm going to go for one of the Arctic so I can start growing Arctic populations. The question is whether I want the Prosnaken, which don't seem amazing, honestly, or the Kupulci, who are traders. I am ever so slightly biased. Then Sargus could also be producing another colony ship, and I think we shall. And then that one is going to be Coromanthi, because I think having the food from jobs in the hot worlds is going to be really good. Although Yazgavaz, they're just a really good all-round race. Yeah, Deeks I'm not actually that bothered by. The other one that would be quite nice to get would be the Havudi Zaan. Pop growth, workers. So these are the guys that would work in any job except for as clerks. Or even as clerks they'd be quite good. And they're strong, which means they're better soldiers. And if I'm growing them myself rather than migrating, I think I have a bit more control over their ethics. Yeah, I haven't needed to build a shipyard there, Colinus. Eventually it might be. You have exactly the same habitability as us. Which means I can't colonize any... Yes! No, I can't. I've already sent that colony ship off. I could delete it and stop it colonizing. Hasn't landed yet. It's right there. And replace it with the Voodoo Zaan. Let's go for the Coromanthi. How far is Sargus from those? Sargus is actually a hell of a lot closer. Wait, was that the right one? And then I'm just going to delete this ship full of people. Okay.
Upscaling complete.
And also, the sooner I get these guys established, the sooner I can GM mod them to make them even better at what I want them to do. And this is where we're really going to test how good the AI is at automating jobs for different races. I have my doubts.
Genetic data upgraded.
Oh, I fully intended to, Thorman. I totally intended to. Barely a year old, the newly established colony of Colin Prime has been shaken by a series of devastating earthquakes that are transforming the environment into an unrecognizable hellscape. Deep rifts, some spanning entire continents, are forming across its surface, spewing sulfuric gases and noxious liquids from deeper within the crust. Such seismological phenomena are typically caused by magma currents in a planet's mantle, but on Colin Prime there are no indications of seismic activity at all, except for the ominous pounding from the planet's core. Local authorities are beginning to question the colony's viability in the long term. Seismic waves have torn through the colony, levelling all buildings and leaving rifts in their wake. And the half Morgente have been done. So Jessica Prime is now about to be producing even more engineering research. And let me see what I can do about this. I feel like that's going to require repairs. Nope, you are still being built. There's actually no downside. Cool. Jessica. So all of the specialists working as researchers, which is all of them, are half Morgente. Which is good. So we can work on the next species, which is going to be these guys. Apply template. It's only 2 of them.
Situation log revised.
And it's going to take how long? 9 months. For 2 people. So this is a fixed cost regardless of the number of people you're actually GMing. That's a bit weird. That should be based on the number of people you're modifying. So doing massive populations is easier. Planet does need a governor, you're not wrong.
Special project actualized.
Actually, does Sergei have a governor? Sergei does. Ah, pause! Seismic activity. The seismic activity on Colin Prime has stopped abruptly. There are no more tremors, no new rifts, no ominous pulsating from its core. The planet has grown quiet, and with it, any luck that will stay that way. All that remains is to rebuild what was lost. Well, nothing was lost. The archaeologists investigating the derelict Yucht cruiser above Kahines 2 have transmitted their report. There are 2 large cryochambers in the cruiser's midsection designed to house 1 Yucht each in suspended animation. Given the massive size of the individuals, it was apparently their standard crew complement on vessels of this size. No Yucht remains were found anywhere else on the ship, but the archaeologists managed to recover logs from a computer that monitored the life signs and medical conditions of the crew. It has proved valuable data on the Yucht physiology. Then Colin Prime, new governor. And now we get more choices. Leader cost and upkeep, crime reduction, or food from jobs. Well, I don't know. Are you going to be an agricultural colony? And is Jackson going to be in the same sector? Yes, actually. Alright, so this governor is going to be the most important governor yet. So Colin Secundus can get a lot of mining, not a lot of food. Colin Prime is going to be almost entirely a population base. Jackson is going to be almost entirely agricultural. With Jackson 3A, agricultural or mining. So food from jobs I don't think is going to be hugely important. I think that this is going to be more of a crime thing. Governor is going to be older. So be it. And this is going to be Sparrowhawk. That's not a lot of food. That's a very small amount of food. But I can do something about that. Ross, I need you to build some more agricultural districts. Plus we're about to get some new colonies and they're usually pretty easy to build up with agriculture. Ah, and I can get the extra starbase, which Jadrook was going to get, and I had just not pressed the button. I'd even renamed it. Alright, construction ships. Where are you? You're up there. Ooh! Core is now available. That's going to require even more transport colony ships. I think I need to be extremely careful about where I expand my borders to now. I think I'm going to get Dothan, because it's a very important nexus point. It allows access to all of this, it allows access to all of this, it's the only way in down here. Plus it gives me access to my first moats. So we're going to build that starbase, and then that's it for the time being. Except maybe Kahines. Defensive Pact invitation. Viking Holdings Inc. have a defensive pact with Kupulci. Oh, you've made it. Excellent. Explore that system. In fact, explore that system. Let's find out who's in here, because there's clearly somebody. Kupulci and the Vikings are getting very comfortable with each other. How much am I over now? 32. And that's reducing my technology by 15%. Well, 14%, but it's soon to be 15. And leader costs have gone up. They're up to 41. This Empire admin size thing it's an interesting addition. I quite like it so far. It's having more of an impact than I could have expected.
Research actualized.
Alright, so we've got the Starhold. Defense platform hit points. It's a rare tech, so we kind of need to grab that one while we can. You know what? Defense platform hull? That's a really good investment. Sure. Also, how much engineering am I getting now? 210. It's still lower than I expected, considering all of Jessica Prime's researchers now have a bonus to engineering research. 131 to 122. It's actually much less of an impact than I expected. Who's the purple guy in the south? Oh, hang on. We have encountered some form of alien vessels in the SCAT system. These guys, they are a criminal syndicate, much like the Viking holdings, but I think they've been basically wiped out by the Jurassic destroyers, who are purgers, fanatical purifiers. Alright, Jessica Prime has got problems. You have a lot of unemployment. Crikey. Easily fixed. Let's build another research center here. No. No. We need the research bonus building. Which I could have sworn I researched. Or am I still researching it? I'm still researching it, so 8 more months, then we'll get that. Stephen Prime is having unemployment issues as well. Could do with a little more housing. You have a lot of jobs, not enough houses. There'll be another housing district. Ross is humming along. You're fine. Mike is also humming along. You're fine. Colin's getting the city district. And more people in. Sergey could desperately do with more housing. Make it happen.
Upscaling complete. Upscaling complete.
And do I have any other colony ships built yet? Nope. Nearly. Nearly.
Upscaling complete.
Yeah, still building.
Upscaling complete.
Sector is Chora in. Chora's also in Colin Prime. Colin Prime's going to be huge. It's going to be 3, 4, 5, 7 planets. 7 planets! I really don't like how sectors work now.
Genetic data upgraded.
Alright, Ido Taxes has finished scanning all the things. Ooh, 2 more planets. 2 Savannah worlds. There's a lot of hot worlds in this region. And now I think you have discovered all of them. I thought we discovered where that destination was. Isn't that how you got down here? Whatever. Right, colony ship. These are the Cupulci, who are the Alpine preference. And they need to go to the Arctic world over there. Well, actually, no. Let's use the expansion planner. We'll go... distance. Alpine, core is an 18. You're actually even closer. Habitability up, pop growth up, governing ethics down. Society research from jobs up, habitability down, planet build speed down. Oh, it's actually roughly the same distance. Cora 2C is ditchy. Jackson 3A is quite a lot bigger. And it has the atmospheric hallucinogen. This is missing the other races. This is only merchants and half merchants, even though I already have another race which is established. I think that Kara 2A actually makes the most sense. Let's go and stick you over there. So Kara needs a new name as well. Actually, there was one already. Zach. So this is going to be the Zach system. And you are coming for the Alpine world. That's the 18, isn't it? Yes. That's correct, right? Let me just double check that. You are the Alpine preference, yes. Okay, then you are the Ocean preference. You are coming for the other planet over here, which is Zach 2B. Or Jackson. Jackson is a 16 size. That does not look like... I guess it could be. 16 size or... 12. Let's go for the 16, shall we? Or a 21 desert. Go for the 16. Wait, isn't that a second Jackson Prime? Where are you going? I think I just screwed that up. No, you're going to Zach. Yeah, the other one's going to Jackson. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Tropical is one of the ones you do, isn't it? Yeah, plus 60. Cool. Counts as wet, not hot. Jessica's still waiting for the research to come through. I think the other stuff is already building. And I think from now on, the colonies are basically going to have to fend for themselves, with the possible exception of Jackson. Because they need to grow their own populations, which are actually compatible with those regions. Or get migration. Another tradition. So, I was thinking of getting diplomacy just for the trust cap. Oh no, that's a finisher effect. No, never mind. Nope, we're going to go for the housing from the city district, I think. That's going to solve a lot of the issues in my core centres. Then jobs are going to be the biggest problem.